Hello and welcome to the Circularists. And this episode, I'm delighted to be speaking with Nyombi Morris from Uganda. Nyombi, welcome. Welcome to the Circularists. Thank you for joining me. And I'm really excited that we're about to share your story because it's impacted me greatly, and I'm sure it will other people. So I'm going to, in a minute, hand over to you to tell us your story, but I'll just summarize by saying that what I've learned recently from you is that your journey began in eastern Uganda, where at the age of 10, you were forced due to flooding to flee that area with your family as climate migrants. And you moved to Kampala, which was a very different environment for you. So you left your friends and your natural environment of farming and moved to a very different atmosphere where you had to start over. So over to you. Would you take the reins and talk us through your journey and your work, which is incredible?
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen. Greetings, everyone. My name is Nyombi Morris, and I'm a youth environment activist from Uganda. I'm really so happy to be here with you. Like you said, I am a migrant, and I'm so proud that I happen to be in this environmental space. As it was at the age of 10, that was back in 2008, we were displaced by floods in eastern Uganda, in a district known as Butaleja district, with over 400 people forced to leave. My family was part. We used to have a farm. At the same time, in that farm, that's where our house was. But as you know, in Global South overall, sometimes when such crises occur, there is no support. Everyone will like find where to go. So we had to leave and came to the capital city of Uganda, Kampala, where we only knew our one person, our grandma. She decided to host us, but things never went back to normal because after the movie, my dad decided to run and left us with a single mom of three. So he discovered maybe the basic needs were so heavy for him. Had to leave. Remember, to get a job in Kampala, you had to have qualification, enough qualification. But my parents didn't have that at that moment. So this was traumatizing at some point to see my mom struggling.
Yes.
I don't know if you know Starbucks, but my mom used to sell that on street. And at some point, there is where she worked as a nanny or au pair, like housemaid, to make sure I go back to school. And if I didn't know if I could be in this environmental space because it has required me to have some more knowledge on how to speak, English. But at the same time, this is where I managed to get friends. It took time to get friends until I went back to school.
Okay.
Because Kampala was new to me.
Yes.
I used to stay inside every time when my mom went to work. Sometimes I could be the one taking care of the kids or the siblings. Yes. So the struggle was mutual, but I'm so happy that after all that, I'm using my story to inspire generation, especially young people,
to do something,
to think about this as a threat to their future, as a threat to their survival. In 2020, I came up with an idea of forming a non-profit. This came after me visiting Western region, some of the areas that are heavily impacted by climate change. So during lockdown, we wanted to do something for our community. So we were planting trees, visiting areas, plant trees with my friends until we reached this region. It's called the Mubende, where we found kids going to school without shoes. Others who had at least shoes, they didn't have uniform, full uniform. If you can get a trouser, you can get a t-shirt, something like that. So we were like, but this area is very rich. It has fertile soil, they receive rainfall. What happened? Why can't parents do something? They can't sell food because they are growing enough food. They have everything. But why are they stuck in poverty?
And why were they stuck in poverty? Did you find out why?
Yeah, we discovered that they lack the knowledge they need to grow enough food,
Okay.
They lack like prevention measures because sometimes they were like, when we grow food, we lose so much food during the time of harvest because you have to make sure you dry it out before keeping it. And when it rains, when you are in the garden, you don't find your food, you find it gone, you know. So they explained a lot, and we're like, I think we need to do something. So to do that, I had to go back home and think about a word that I can use to form a non-profit, because I couldn't go as me to go to those schools and be like, hello, my name is Nyombi Morris. What? They'll be asking, where's the permission? Are you fully registered? Are you legit? We don't want scammers. So I came out with an idea of forming a non-profit after that, because I had to go back. I was like, I need to go back to these people and give them some guidance. So I formed Earth Volunteer.
Earth Volunteer.
Yes, with a mission.
Sorry to jump in there, because you were farming from the age of 10. So before you had to flee, you were a farmer, a young farmer. So you knew the answers, right?
I knew some, not all. I knew some because I used to be supportive to my parents. I could go grow my own food. You know, as when you are young, you'll be like, I want to plant something also.
Yeah, how beautiful.
I used to, that thing is still in me even today. But again, since we are in Kampala, where everything is crazy, settlement and so on, you can't find where to grow food anymore. So it is, maybe you have to go deep in village to find space. Yeah, so I had to form a non-profit to make sure I go back and do something. And I named it Earth Volunteers, with a mission to bring together young people to learn, understand climate change, and go back and do something on their own.
Amazing.
Why? It is because whether we want it or not, Generation Z is going and Generation A is coming. So the impacts are going to affect these young people more than us.
Right.
At least for us, we have been having social media, internet, to be curious, to understand. There is Fridays for Future movement, a movement that have empowered so many young people to understand. But in their generation, who is going to be there? It is going to be about them. So we exclude them if we don't give them enough support to understand that actually environmentalists starts with me doing something in my small little time I have. Then we are not ready for them to be in the future. So when I formed this, we started doing different activities, like tree planting, with over 50,400 trees have been planted in 18 Uganda forest reserves since 2021. And we have got some accolades we got one from Doha Debate. We got another one in 2022 from CNN that was sponsored by Rolex. So yeah, it has been a very wonderful journey. We have so far reached out to 25 schools with over 13,000 students. Our mission is bigger. We want to reach at least 1.5 million young people by 2030. This is going to happen because we have formed like branches, like coordinators across the country, whereby each coordinator has the right to check out which schools to visit, which schools are interested in this. And with that, they invite us to go there.
It's very well planned, and it's very strategic and thought through, which is exactly what you need to hit a goal. So are you the mastermind behind all of this?
Yeah, I am. It is because of my story. Sometimes I'm like, if my parents knew about this climate crisis in the first place, in first hand, maybe they wouldn't just leave, like, because the land is now taken over by water, so we have to leave. No, sometimes there is an option.
Another way.
You don't just have to leave. This is why we need more young brain to think about the right solution. We haven't got a solution, and the crisis continue to be fueled by capitalists, fueled by billionaires, spread by leaders who keep lying year after year. So with these young people, when they are well equipped, they are able to challenge anyone.
Amazing.
You know, so I am the mastermind, and I believe this is going to be replicated everywhere in the world, because in Africa currently we don't have climate education in school. And we cannot push leaders to put them in school because they listen to their fellow leaders, which is very hard for us to access those leaders as we wait for them to think, to plan, to lie and continue to do everything. We can do something as we young people. So
empower yourselves, empower ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why when I formed this and I realized climate education was very crucial, especially to communities that are heavily impacted. We have areas, like we have regions that are very, very vulnerable. Where I came from in Eastern Uganda, in Western Uganda, in Northeastern Uganda. And this one is very terrible because in 2022, we lost over 900 people.
900 deaths?
Yes. In 2 months, June and July 2022, there are reports, you find them there. Kalamoja region lost over 900 people due to starvation. There is no rainfall. There is no rainfall. People can't grow food. Like we went there, we created awareness. We delivered some food, and some people started supporting. So we were so happy that the world was woken up by our call. But that is not enough. People need to understand this crisis, how it was caused, and what they can do. Instead of them moving from one place to another, pushing areas to raise the cost of living. You know, we are seeing this in the capital city of Uganda today. You cannot survive here unless you have daily source of income. You cannot survive. Yeah. So when I realized this, I had to reach out to different people. And this is when I reached out to UNICEF Zimbabwe to help me with a book that they had published in 2008. This is called Our Changing Climate. It was there, no one was using it. So they gave me a copyright and they allowed me to edit and add in more information that is valid for our areas. And this is the book we are distributing most of the time. But there are schools that have so many students whereby even the 100 copies we distribute is not enough. But what we tell teachers is to give them a chance to read, form questions from this, from this topic. When you get a chance, ask them questions, pick some questions, add them, let them learn. Because this is the only way we are going to bring them out in a world full of crisis. And they'll be able to face it.
Yes, I'm curious to ask you something, Nyombi. You are such a force and your journey has equipped you with this drive and this quest to know and to help others to know. Answer me this. When you and your family moved, when you moved from East Uganda to Kampala, is it that experience that's given you the drive to know and to begin change and to influence the whole of the country? Do you think any academic or course of education would have given you the same thing? Or has this really come out of your experience? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if education was there, it will be very helpful because even you, the first time you say the word, you first heard it somewhere. I don't know, your parents may not have told you, but you first heard it somewhere. So this is how education works. When you share something, people are always curious to know, oh, did he say this? Okay, I need to find out. So education has always been crucial, but it's not there. Like on things concerning climate change, even my parents didn't know about this. So what is driving me, yes, may be my story, but I've done a lot of research in the past 4 years. A lot of research on this topic, especially using Google, social media, watching videos on YouTube concerning climate. So sometimes it requires a lot of commitment, I can say.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And this is why I know more about this crisis, even if I didn't study it, because I searched. But not everyone will be in that position. This is why we need a collective, maybe a library or something, where all the information is gathered.
Right, so some centralized library or resource of climate preventative and mitigating information or something like that.
Absolutely. because people can't even search. When you go to Google today, if you want to know more about climate change, some from different area will search what is climate change. And that is what Google will give you.
Right.
But sometimes you ask why the temperatures are rising, and you see reports talking about temperatures are rising. What is 1.5 degree? What is 1.5 degree? What is IPCC report saying? What is IPCC in the first place? What is the Nation Framework on Climate Change? But people don't know much how to search. Someone will be direct and be like, okay, climate change. If you ask Google what's climate change, Google explain climate change is this and this.
Right.
They will not give you the overall thing. This makes it so hard for people to actually go deep and understand this issue.
I understand. So the impact of your work, your legacy is that by 2030, you will have led the youth of Uganda to have an education in climate change, awareness, preventative measures, mitigation measures, all sorts of things like that. The whole of that new generation in school now will be educated. That's your wish, right?
That's my wish.
And the goal is 2030 for that to be accomplished.
Yes, because they are for accountability. When you look at 2015, when the world leaders came together to discuss about our future, they were like, hey, we are going to limit temperatures to 1.5 degrees. We are going to invest and scale up in renewables. Okay, you said all that. But now time for accountability, because it is coming to an end. If we can't account for what we have done until 2030, then what is the target for 2050? Are we going back to what we failed to achieve? Or we have to set new goals with different tasks. So this accountability time is not going to be only about leaders. It's going to be even about you.
Yes.
All of us. Yes, you were there. What did you do in your time? At least what you try to do. We are not saying you have to be perfect, but let us counter for everyone, not only those leaders, but even you as an individual. So for me, and my team, we gave our task to this, that at least by the time we say enough is enough, we have also tried it.
Yes. I want to ask you, this is amazing impact that you're having, and you are such a force. And I think in climate circles, if you can call it that, there's a lot of talk about predictions of swathes of migration happening, people moving in their millions across the earth to safer, cooler places and all of that. What I'm hearing from you is that you're setting Uganda up to be able to stay in place, to take measures and to mitigate against the change that will come.
Yep. We are preparing it. We are preparing it, and a lot is coming. We are also having a project known as If We Knew project. This is going back to ancient solutions that has ever been implemented in Amazon. So we are going back to indigenous solutions on how to return a dry land into a productive land. So we are seeing desert in the horns of Africa. We are seeing a lot of dry areas coming up over our land everywhere. Right. So what if there is a solution? There is a solution. This project is in pipeline. I don't know much about it, but it is about land restoration.
Right. Fantastic. What do you have any involvement or impact? I'm sure you have much to say on the mining. I know that Uganda sits on reserves of cobalt and other minerals that we use in our phones.
Yep.
Do you have much involvement there as well?
I try to talk about that, but in my country, there is threats. Like today, we have over 11 activists rotting in jail because of challenging the construction of a pipeline known as the East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline. So there are mining that are taking place, and this is heavily funded by the Western billionaires, people from Global North who have money, who don't care about us developing, but care about themselves developing their countries in terms of renewable. So we cannot just talk about mining and leave out those force solution, the renewable slavery that is happening, or I can call it green slavery that is happening, where rich nations come to poor nations, get the minerals, get the resources at a cheaper price, use child labor, take it to their country, develop and be the leaders in renewable, whereby other countries can't even come closer because they are not paid well. They are not supported to set up industry that can help them build those equipments. Today, we can't even make a solar panel in my country. And leaders are saying Global South actually has the biggest power to change the world. And I'm like, where is the support? Why are you not doing industries? Why are you not setting up industries here? Because if we can use cobalt in making our own, let's say, you talked about phones, and we don't have to use a plane to ship them to Africa.
Right.
You know,
yes.
So the emission will continue to rise because we are taking the product to your country. Then again, you have to return such stuff, make it to look like this is all greenwashing. Everything was a lie. Right. And when you ask for money, look at loss and damage. They keep promising, they add it to agenda, but they don't tell who is going to pay, how much they're going to pay. They keep promising. As years continue to move, the crisis continue to multiply. Nigeria lost over 4 million people, 4 million people were displaced in 2023. We saw Pakistan flooding over 33 million people. Uganda has always been flooding. Last year, Malawi lost over 430-something people due to floods. So the crisis continues to multiply, but those who owe the power, those who owe the money, those who have contributed the biggest percentage of this climate crisis are actually in their office like this, just watching and waiting for the next climate conference to come and say, oh, we care, we understand. That's it.
Thank you for your voice. I'm pleased that I can play a small part in amplifying what you have just said, because it's so important. There's a lot wrong with the climate movement that you've just touched on. So let's put this out there. And let's move forward. Let's try and move forward on a more equitable footing, because it's not taking place, it's not happening. The intention is being expressed, and it's not actually, there's no follow through. So
it is not equal, it is not just, it's not fair. Like everything is just benefiting the West, you know, everything. If they talk about transition, the West. Anything, you never see us leading. Because if you insist on asking guys, instead of you taking our minerals that can be used to make solars, please set up a solar production company here, industry here. Then you are enemy. You become an enemy.
Right. You know, it seems an obvious thing to say, and even a young child would state this, but if the world is at risk and we have global threats and problems, then it's going to take the world changing together to do something new, to move to a new place. You can't have half the globe taking care of itself and neglecting the other half, because it's obviously going to fail at some point.
It will.
It's such an immature notion that we could greedily, or anyone could greedily stay over here and look after this half of the beautiful blue marble and leave the other half in the dust. How is that ever going to work? The climate belongs to all of us. We all breathe the same air.
Absolutely. And this is why the accountability has to be equal. If you are telling us this, then we have to also ask you that.
Right.
There's no staying quiet. And this is why we need more young people who are going to be very, 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 very serious on this accountability issue.
Yes.
Because we need clear transitions that are not based on exploitation.
Right.
Not based on, adding wealth to other regions, adding wealth to other countries and leaving others poor. Because in the past 4 decades, this is what the West has been doing. They enter your politics. They choose for you who is the right leader to lead you. because that is the favorite leader who is going to be used to sell out all the materials, all the minerals, everything that will happen in the country. So this has been happening, and this is why young people need to understand all these kind of stories. Even if they continue to hide our history, today history is coming out from nowhere. You may hide it, but nowadays internet is bringing the history back. So we need to make sure we prepare our young people to be ready to challenge with all the information. I'm not surprised that climate education is not in school, because I know it is all controlled by the West. If the West agree that, yes, let us add climate education, trust me, to be there. But because they haven't agreed, not yet in our schools. They know why. The more we know much, the more pressure will go to them.
All right, I understand. You know, so Nyombi, where can people find you to support? Are you raising funds? Do you have a GoFundMe? Is there a website where there are links and people can go and get behind your work?
Yeah, we have so many. We realize that some stories need to be heard. So we have even a category on our website where people are sharing stories concerning their lifestyle, how they join activism, what ideas they have. So our website is www.earthv.org, or when you search Earth Volunteer on Google, you will see us. Okay. And you check on our website, there is a donation link. Okay. We will be uploading some tip of our projects so that you can read through. And our mission is not only to look for funds, but to spread the word. So our volunteers are always struggling. We are volunteers, we are not paid. Right. So our volunteers sometimes want to do more. So when you have some volunteer opportunities, just reach out to us and be like, guys, I need these members. I need like 5 to come and be the host to help me set up this event. It's going to happen this and this day. Yes. Our people are very, very happy to be there and also volunteer. But also we are looking forward to set up our office because now we have a big number of young people who sometimes need to meet us, but we are still struggling because we need to know where will we be getting the source of income to pay the rent. We need furnitures, but this is just small to what we want to do. So we don't put an emphasis on that. We put an emphasis on making the world a better place. So when you follow us on social media, or when you check on our website, you find our social media, earthvolunteer.org. Wonderful.
I will put a link in the video and in the posts on YouTube and on LinkedIn so people can easily find you. I'm so inspired, and I know other people will be too. And I hope that we get swathes of people behind you with some new energy for you. You are an Earth legend, and it's been an absolute honor to talk with you, to amplify your voice and your work. I hope you'll come back at a future date and give us an update on all the good work and those targets and how it's going on the road to 2030 and then 2050. Nyombi Morris, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really so happy that you hosted us and you are using this platform to share stories that are not heard out there, which is very, very impactful. And I wish to come back and give you more updates on our If We Knew project. And Climate Education 2030, we are on the mission, and I'm sure we will achieve it. The metrics showing the numbers going up. So why not? Why are we giving up?
Absolutely, we'll do that easily. I'm sure. So all the very best, and chat to you again in the future at some point.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.